Sometimes you go to use the alignment tools or the grid in Cricut Design Space, but due to the design you're working with or your workflow, it means they can't work the way you need them to. So in this video, I'm going to go over a couple of simple workarounds. Let's get started. I want to add a decal to a tray that I'm going to paint so it fits in with my home decor. The tray is rectangular, but the file I have is square. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a 12 by 5.5 inch rectangle, sized to match the surface of my tray. And I'll change the fill to yellow so it stands out from the white canvas background. Now, when I bring in the file, you can see that if I simply change the size of it proportionally, we're left with a lot of empty space. Now that's fine if you want to add some additional designs. For some reason with this quote I think adding butterflies would work well. But my main focus is the quote. So I'm going to realign the text and combine some rows. I do like to use the layers panel a lot when selecting objects on the canvas. So first I'll quickly rename each group and then reorder as it's pulled them in reverse order. Now I can move them into a layout that I think fits the area I have to work with better. Okay, so far that's pretty simple, and you're probably thinking, why are you wasting time recording this, Nikki? Well, I shall tell you. As I've merged two lines into one, I'm first going to group them so they don't move independently unless I want them to. And then let's centre this within our rectangle. With the two rows that I've now put side by side, I want to make sure they are aligned, but because of the tail on the Y in today, we can't simply align to bottom, as it brings the words in the first group to the lowest point of that tail. However, because my words are grouped and each starts with a capital letter, which in this font are all pretty much the same height, we can instead, in this situation, align to top. They may be off slightly, but probably not enough for it to be noticeable. But what if we did want to get it exact, or the design has lots of elements that this just won't work with? Well, we could make the grid visible, but because of the rectangle that represents our trace surface, we can't see the grid behind it. In Cricut Design Space, we can't turn off the fill from a shape to leave us with just an outline. We could use the score line to build as a box, or move the relevant parts outside of the rectangle, align them to a grid, and then move them back in. But who's got time for that? Instead, let's make a frame. With just my rectangle selected, I'll go into Effects and add an offset. The distance doesn't matter as it's the inside part of the frame that is important here. Unless you wanted to add a frame to your design, then you would size it accordingly. Then, with both the rectangle and the offset selected, I'll hit Slice. I'm going to hide the yellow rectangle, just in case I want to use it later, but I will delete the other slice result as we don't need it. This then leaves us with a frame. The inside measurement is the same size as our tray surface, and now, as we can see the grid, we can use it to help us align our objects. I can see that the characters are very slightly out, so I can just nudge this group down with my mouse. And I can better gauge the space between the two groups and move one over just a smidge. I'm going to make a few other adjustments to my design. And then once that's done, I can select all and centre it horizontally and vertically. Yes, I could have selected centre, but my brain for some reason just automatically goes to the two separate options. Of course, it doesn't have to be a simple shape like a square or rectangle. You can add an offset to any shape, slice, and then remove the parts you don't want, but retain the original shape. So sometimes, if the usual tools don't work how you need them to, think outside the box. Or in this case, inside the rectangle. For more Cricut tips, workarounds, and the occasional bad pun, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.